even get me started on that topic. I actually I need more patience in that topic because I literally see it straight up as like murder. Like that's just murder. It's like, convenient. And like we were talking about it, and it's just like I was like, oh my gosh, like this girl, I can't work with her, and now we're like we're closer. We'll text each other. She's like, oh, we're going to Bible study Wednesday night. And she asks, we'll be in the lounge sitting together sometimes, and she'll be like, so we just talk about it. Like she's willing.
She's totally curious. Yeah.
She's opening up, and I'm just like, and it's crazy because in the beginning I was like, Lord, get her out of my sight. I don't want anything to do with her. I never even thought, that was a possibility.
Right.
She was the one who was the hard-headed the most.
Right.
Sometimes for me, it's always been the ones that I care about the most. To be honest.
I think so too. That's for me too.
That's me. That's one of my things. Is because you love someone, but I have to accept that, when I love them, I gotta keep reminding them, basically what I'm saying is whatever I do, I always remind them that the reason I do it is for the Lord.
Right.
And at the same time, like she said, let your life be the example, obviously. So in your hard time, in your struggles, when they see your struggles and see your pain, in those moments where you could say from your heart, from your spirit, that God's gonna get the glory through all this.
Right.
And they can see that evident that Jesus is really real to them. This is something real. This is something real that just happened one time. It's a lifestyle we go
Would you
through.
say that people you care about because you're scared that they're going to reject it and they're not friends anymore?
Or in some cases even for families where you're no longer even because of the fear of rejection and connection, and also actually hate because of what Jesus is, who he is. And it's like black and white where I can't hide it. I can't say.
You know Nabil Qureshi, and he's
Of course.
yeah. So he used to in his
great.
book. He said this one thing that every time I think about sharing with somebody, he comes into mind because he said,
So
if you
incredible.
don't, huh?
He was so incredible.
It's so amazing, right? It's so amazing. Yeah. If you don't share with somebody, if you don't share the gospel with somebody, it's only because of two reasons. Number one, you don't care if they go to hell, and that's just how it is. Or number two, you don't really believe on what you're saying. You know what I mean? So those are the only two reasons that are possible why you're not sharing with somebody. If you just don't care if they go to hell, or you really don't truly believe that Jesus is the way, the truth, and life. So it's
That's
that's
deep,
so true.
That's so true.
Yeah.
That's many years. Absolutely.
Is it true? I guess with people very wicked go hell, can God forgive what they done?
Talking about
If they're already in hell,
No, the wicked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh, he can forgive anybody, sure.
Yeah.
He's God, yeah.
they have chance me to hammer, right?
Not once they're
Not once they're in hell, yeah.
Yeah, once they're
Oh,
dead.
Once they're dead, that's it. They've made their
That's it.
decision.
Yeah.
it's really up to I look at it as God's sovereignty, God's grace, and free will.
I know the Catholic Church
I
teaches
can't.
There's like a whole,
purgatory,
yeah. Well,
but is that also in the Christian church or the
No, that's in the books that were taken out of the canonized books. So it's in some of the books there that they have something called the limbo and purgatory, which is why they're not in our Bible, which is
I was gonna ask you a question about worship in a sense.
Yeah.
In your life of worship, and you went places and done things. Can you name one moment where the Lord had I guess you could say a big moment in your time when you were traveling or whatever, just in worship, where God used you in a sense and where it touched someone, or someone came to you, or maybe how you ministered to them, or something, just something that maybe really kind of impacted you in a sense, where that doesn't be big, but it's just something simple. But,
Yeah,
but
no, even just so I used to go around with my band, Crowns for Ashes, and we used to go around doing worship at different churches, and I
Yeah.
feel like that was probably the first time that I really felt like you had to be an actual minister and go to people and and chat with them, you know.
Mhm.
And so we would go up to people, we would kind of pray with them, and we would lay hands on them and kind of literally I felt like that was the first time that I felt I had a role that I had to lead them in this way instead of just going up there and singing
Yeah.
songs.
Yeah.
And then when I was in New Zealand doing music missions, that was probably the coolest thing. That entire 3 weeks was just focused on having these kids know who Jesus is and loving them through music. So we would go and we would teach ukulele lessons and drum lessons and all these kinds of things, but it was about building relationships with these people. So that was probably the most eye-opening thing, where you just felt like here's the tools, and that's called music, but really it's about God, and so let's just, you know what I mean? So that was the coolest thing. We ended up doing this huge concert that ended up being a worship concert for all of the kids and stuff that we taught classes to,
Yeah.
and that was just the most powerful thing.
That's
To kind of see them, and because we weren't really allowed to talk to them about God during school time,
okay.
and then we invited them to this worship concert at the very end when we left,
Yeah.
and that's when we kind of bam, just hit it straight up, here's Jesus, this is why we're here, they're probably what is it? But that was really, really powerful.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I think one of the things is that when we make yourself available, I feel like when you said earlier thing about I feel unworthy,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But in the moments when you make yourself available, you God, I don't deserve to even be talking to this person,
Right.
even giving my opinion.
Who am I to be talking to this person about you? This is not.
And especially when you have it in the back of your head where my life is not together and this and this and
Right.
that, you know what I mean? And
Exactly.
but I guess in a sense, since God knows you, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
He's no, this is not gonna be about you.
Exactly.
And
I don't care if you didn't read the Bible over the last 3 days. It's.
And in those moments, you appreciate who God is more, but then and also you appreciate His Word more too, and then you're God, you are who you say you are, and and just I just have to be obedient and just obey and not kind of fall into the whole thing of fear and so but that's one of my struggles, just the fear of I guess sometimes rejection of certain people.
Right.
Certain people. And it's funny because I was telling you about I could be bold as a lion for so many things, but for some of the things it's I need your strength in this.
Yeah.
I need you.
Feel completely reliant.
I need to rely on you fully to this completely, and where this is because of trust.
My favorite question to always ask people is, where were you spiritually a year ago? What this past year have you gained, or do you know that it's kind of something that's not as much of a weakness? Is it a strength or something that you've overcome?
In the last year. I definitely feel in the last year. So last year, making that change is I'm married, right? So it's been a whole year, and that has been a huge thing for me, because I feel even in that, John wasn't a believer when I started dating him, so that was also still something that I was struggling with even then. So this is not something that was oh, I stopped struggling when I was 21. For the last 10 years I've been, it's not even been like that. It's something that's
always
ongoing. It's
yeah.
completely always ongoing. And we're all unfinished. So, when he became a believer and stuff, I feel that just totally solidified having this God-centered marriage is just kind of this crazy eye-opening thing that it's almost how do you even survive without it, and it's so I think definitely strength-wise, I feel God's been calling me more into a leadership type of thing, and kind of saying okay, it's been a while, you need to stop drinking the milk, and here's the meat, and go do it, so I feel that has been something that he's been working with me in the last year. So whereas a year ago I kind of would be content to maybe sit and get all the food,
Right.
and just, So I feel now he's okay, it's been enough.
topic tonight, but now that you say that, what's the biggest difference you've seen from like living with someone as opposed to now being married and living with someone?
Oh my gosh,
Like it's like,
like we don't fight, like there's no negativity, there's no, like, it's all completely, it's very, everyone says that the first year is hardest, blah, blah, you know, like, it's very different, secular, you know, marriage versus, like, a guy-centered marriage, and everyone's like, oh, ball and chain, the first year is the hardest. This is literally the easiest thing we've ever done, like, it's just an easy relationship, it's very, you know, it's just easy, versus, like, with the, guy that I lived with, I, like, never knew how I could talk to him, and, like, how could I approach him, and there was not this openness, just like totally, now I feel like completely like open, like here's this is what I'm struggling with, this is how I need to communicate with you, whereas like I remember from my ex-boyfriend, the reason we broke up is because he said he didn't want to get married, and I remember being, like coming home and being like, oh my gosh, how do I ask him if he wants to get married, like, how am I gonna, you know, like, and just like being so scared to talk to him. That's never been like an issue. I feel like it's just that. It's just this whole line of openness and like judgment-free zone, which is like awesome.
I can imagine, because it's like when you're dating someone, you're in a secular, it's like you guys necessarily, it's almost like an aimless destination.
Well, that's exactly what it was. It was like 4 years later, I was like, well, what's happening, you know?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I don't really want to get married. And I was like, what? That's 4 years later. So we broke up that night, and like that was it. And it was like a whole spiral. Oh, I totally left out like this other crazy part. I don't know. It's still recording. Oh Lord. Yeah. So after this was like the bottom of the barrel. Like so, we had broken up, and I had called this guy that I had met a couple years ago just to kind of like, I didn't know what to do. It was just like this like rebound time. Like I didn't know what was going on. Ended up calling this other guy. So me and, give him the name, his name was Andy, the guy that I was dating. We were still living, we decided, okay, we're just gonna still live together for a couple of months, because obviously that's a good idea, right, when you've broken up, because it's the worst idea I've ever done. So we were like, all right, we're gonna live together because our lease is not up and blah, 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 we'll just be roommates. In that time, I decided to talk to this other guy, which ended up being this rebound. He ended up coming over to hang out, and then Andy came home. And that was just the absolute, like, probably the bottom that I'd ever been, where it was just a huge blowout, and because at that time Andy had just told me that he wanted to get back together, and then I brought this other guy home, and it was just a hot, awful mess. And this guy, this new guy, I had ended up also kind of having a relationship with, was also married. So this is like, yeah, it's like a telenovela, right? Like, oh, Life of Kim. So this is this whole thing, and I just feel like this so ties into your identity, because this is me not knowing my identity, is like searching it for this guy that I thought I was going to marry for 4 years, and then finding this other guy that was obviously married, but okay, it felt good, and I had no idea what else to do, so I carried on this relationship with him, who was married and had 3 kids, and, you know, kind of said, oh, me and my wife are not together, but obviously, you know, that's not true. And God just somehow, he broke those strongholds in my life, but it was really something that, I'm gonna say for like a couple years, it really was something that had me, like it was just, I was totally under this like devil's foothold for such a long time in my life, like that was just the worst.
How long were you single before you met John?
Probably a year or 2, yeah.
That's good, man. He's like totally transformed your life.
Like
It's
totally
incredible.
transformed of something, of all of this like crazy like disobedience and rebellion, like I don't
Frank mentioned, and to add to that, Frank met this past Wednesday, right? Yeah, when Joseph, just you'd be amazed at the bad use of things. Somehow it's gonna be sent for good, and we can't always explain the, you know, of all the wrong choices we made,
right,
and the, you know, the path that we chose in so many ways, but God keeps you, and when He brings you back to Him, it's almost like the prodigal son back all over again, and you're like,
literally,
and you just fall in love in that romance all over again. You're like, God, I'm unworthy. He's like, no, but I still love you, and I accept you, you know. And then you're like,
It's like a cycle.
it really is. That's why I feel like I think sometimes, like Frank said it, like, we feel like we just get this beautiful moment or like we just, everything's
it's
all, like
perfect
it's like
after
a
that.
perfect honeymoon and we're just like, everything be perfect, like this one day. But no, it's a daily thing, it's literally something daily that we gotta walk with daily and with the, the struggles and the heartaches and things that we have to deal with. But I find that pretty beautiful because it's just, in a sense, it just shows you more and more of God's power and
Yeah, and his love for us.
his love for us. He is relentless. He
Relentless, yeah.
he
I feel like
chases
if there
you.
was a word that was like to kind of hover over my life, it would just be the word grace. I just feel like that's just the underlying theme in my life is his grace.
Was hard to go out from your house?
Hmm?
It was hard for you to go out, how be with the John?
Is it hard?
Yeah.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
I remember John.
Somebody's messier than
I
me.
remember when I met John. When I first met John, it was. I could see just everything, just who he was becoming and what he was bringing to you in your life, and just and just drawing you in a sense, just you were just like you were seeing a whole different side of life differently,
Yeah.
when you came in and things like that. And I don't know, it just shows you God's grace in all that as well.
Yes.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
So it's just like, but it's a blessing, man.
Are you